Is the universe infinite? Does it stretch on forever in every direction? Or does it have an edge? And if so, what would you see if you went there? These are some of the most fundamental and mind-boggling questions we can ask about the cosmos. Today we know that the universe had a beginning, the Big Bang, roughly 14 billion years ago. And it's been expanding ever since. But something that's expanding must have an edge, right? Well, sort of. Because information can't travel faster than light, we can only see the parts of the universe whose light has had time to reach us in those 14 billion years. When we look out into the cosmos, what we see is a sphere centered on us, the observable universe. But here's where it gets a little more complicated. Because the universe has been expanding, the most distant objects whose light we see are actually much farther away now than they were when the light started its journey. The observable universe is a sphere with a radius of roughly 45 billion light-years. It contains an estimated 200 billion galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars. So for us, there is an edge. We're looking back in time until there's simply no more past to see. This edge is more like an edge in time, a limit to how far back we can observe. The real universe is almost certainly much bigger than what we can see. But how much bigger? There are two main possibilities. Either the universe is incredibly large but finite, or it's truly infinite. A finite universe, even a huge one, could theoretically be filled with a finite amount of, well, anything. But this raises a tricky question. If it's finite, shouldn't it have a boundary, a cosmic wall where space just ends? And if there's an edge, what's on the other side? The universe, by definition, is all there is. So how can there be something outside of everything? There's a potential solution to this paradox, a finite universe without a boundary. Imagine the surface of a balloon. An ant crawling on the balloon can travel in any direction and never reach an edge, yet the surface area of the balloon is finite. The universe could be similar, but instead of a sphere, it might be a hypersphere, a concept difficult for our 3D minds to visualize. In a hyperspherical universe, if you traveled in a perfectly straight line for long enough, you'd eventually return to your starting point. If the universe is a hypersphere, how big is it? Scientists have looked for evidence of this curvature, a kind of universe horizon, but haven't found any. This means that if the universe is a hypersphere, it must be so vast that from our perspective, it appears flat. Current estimates suggest it would have to be at least 1,000 times larger than our observable universe, perhaps much more. Some scientists have proposed even wilder possibilities, like a hyperdonut-shaped universe, which would also allow for travel in a straight line back to the starting point, but with some bizarre consequences, like seeing the same distant objects in multiple places at different points in their history. But what if the universe is truly infinite, stretching on forever in every direction? This is the scenario predicted by many cosmological models. An infinite universe would contain an infinite amount of everything. This raises some truly mind-bending questions. If the universe is infinite, does that mean it's also eternal? How can something infinite get bigger, as we know our universe is doing? And perhaps most strangely, in an infinite universe with finite types of particles, doesn't that mean that somewhere out there must be an exact copy of you watching this video right now? While the idea of infinite repetition is fascinating, the distances involved would be so vast as to be practically meaningless. Even if copies of ourselves exist, they would be so far away that we could never interact with them. We've entered the realm of science philosophy here. While these scenarios are fun to think about, they're currently beyond our ability to test. If the universe is truly infinite, we may never know for sure. The reality is, for us, the universe is finite. It has an edge, the edge of time, defined by the limits of what we can observe. And even if this finite universe feels small compared to the vastness of infinity, it's still more than big enough to hold all the wonders and possibilities we can imagine. So, is the universe infinite? The answer remains elusive, but the journey to find out has led us to some of the most mind-blowing concepts in cosmology. What are your thoughts on the infinite universe? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations of the cosmos.